Hello friends, hope you all doing well. So today here in this video I will discuss about the paranasal air sinuses and details about the maxillary air sinus. So I'll discuss about the maxillary air sinus. Maxillary air sinus. So there are total 4 paranasal air sinuses. Number 1, that is frontal air sinus. This is the right, and this is the left frontal air sinus. Then the frontal air sinus, then the maxillary air sinus. These are the maxillary air sinus. This is the right maxillary air sinus, and this is the left maxillary air sinus. Then the sphenoidal air sinuses are the anterior. This is the anterior ethmoidal air sinus. This is the posterior, posterior, and this is the middle. This is the anterior ethmoidal air sinus. This is the middle ethmoidal air sinus, and this is the posterior ethmoidal air sinus. This is the middle ethmoidal, and this is the posterior. This is the middle ethmoidal air sinus, and this is the posterior ethmoidal air sinus. So these are the these three, anterior, middle and posterior air sinuses, are called sphenoidal air sinus. Okay, and this is the oral cavity. Here is the maxillary air sinuses. Here in this video I'll discuss about the maxillary air sinuses and their arterial supply, nerve supply, venous drainage, etc. about these maxillary air sinuses. So this is the right maxillary air sinus. This is the left maxillary air sinus. So this is the largest air sinus of the present in the body of the maxilla. So these are present on the body of the maxilla, and this is the largest air sinuses, and one on each side of the nasal cavity. So on nasal cavity, these are present in the nasal cavity, and it has the following parts. It has the different parts, like number 1, that is roof. The roof is formed by the orbit. The roof of the maxillary air sinuses are formed by the orbit. And now the floor. The floor of the is formed by the alveolar process of maxilla. This floor is formed by the alveolar process of maxilla. Now the base. So roof, floor, now the base. Base is formed by the nasal surface of the body of maxilla. So base is formed by the nasal surface of the body of maxilla, and the apex. Now the apex, and the apex extends into the zygomatic process of maxilla. It extends to the zygomatic process of maxilla. Now the anterior wall, the anterior wall of the maxillary air sinuses. Anterior wall, it is related to the infraorbital plexus of nerves. Within the wall runs anterior superior alveolar nerve. So this is the anterior wall of the anterior wall is related to the infraorbital plexus of nerves. And within the wall runs anterior superior alveolar nerve. Now the posterior wall. Now the posterior wall. Posterior wall forms the anterior boundary of infratemporal fossa. It forms the anterior boundary of infratemporal fossa, and it is pierced by the posterior superior alveolar nerve. So this is the posterior surface of the maxillary air sinus. Now the arterial supply. And nerve supply. I will discuss about the arterial supply of the maxillary air sinus. So now the arterial supply. Arterial supply of the maxillary ear sinus. So arterial supply, it's supplied by the branches of the anterior, medial and posterior superior alveolar arteries. It is supplied by the maxillary ear sinuses are supplied by the branches of anterior, medial and posterior superior alveolar artery. Branches of anterior, medial and posterior. Anterior, medial and posterior superior alveolar arteries. Anterior, medial and posterior superior alveolar arteries. Anterior, posterior, medial and superior. Anterior, medial and posterior superior alveolar arteries. So this is applied by this artery. And the venous drainage. Now the venous drains in by the facial vein, number 1, facial vein, and the pterygoid plexus of vein, number 2, pterygoid plexus of veins. So this venous drainage by the facial vein and pterygoid plexus of veins. And now the nerve supply. So nerve supply of the maxillary ear sinus. So nerve supply is by the arterial, anterior, medial and posterior superior alveolar nerve. Here arterial supply by the branches of anterior, medial and posterior superior alveolar arteries, and the nerve supply by the anterior, medial and posterior superior alveolar nerve. Same, the anterior, medial and posterior superior alveolar nerve. So this is the nerve supply, anterior, medial and the infraorbital nerve, and also by the infraorbital nerve. What is the name? That is infraorbital nerve. So this is the nerve supply, that is anterior, medial and posterior superior alveolar nerve and the infraorbital nerve. Arterial supply by the branches of the anterior, medial and posterior superior alveolar nerve and the facial vein, alveolar arteries. Venous supply by the facial vein and the pterygoid plexus of veins, and the nerve supply by the anterior, medial, posterior and alveolar nerve and the infraorbital nerve. So this is the details about maxillary ear sinuses, and thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe this channel if the video you like.